play the lottery. This is your ticket out. Now, I'm quoting or paraphrasing our former U.S. Senator Paul Simon, who helped sponsor the National Gambling Impact Study Commission, a totally bipartisan commission. And we had a recent bill that, in line with the federal commission, called the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, which passed in 2006, passed the Congress with 80% of the vote. So the Congress is starting to get the message on these things. And let me give you one final example. In Omaha, Nebraska, they had a proposal to save the racetrack there by gambling. Oh, we have shortfalls, we have revenue shortfalls. Let's save the racetrack. Let's bring in casino gambling. Instead, they bulldozed it down and turned it into an extension of the University of Nebraska, and they turned it into a high-tech office park. And it's beautiful. Every time I go back there, they're adding buildings. It's a terrific campus. Now, that is long-term development. That's what we need. That's economic and educational stimulus. We need to take these casinos that already exist and, like after the Olympics, turn them into dorms, college facilities, cafeterias for students.
We have a rhetorical question here. Have you ever been in a casino? Trust me, the pitfalls are greater than the profits. Robert from the Big Island. And when we're talking about horses, somebody else in the Big Island says, if we had horse racing on the Big Island, that would boost the local economy. We already horses. Why not? You have horse racing.
Well, yes, I'd love to have horse racing here.
And gambling.
I love the ponies, but they won't come here because there's not enough of enough people in Hawaii to make it worthwhile. Plus, horse racing is going down as far as gambling is concerned. So they're getting away from horse racing. People love the faster. They love the faster form of gaming. But you know, here's another thing here. I was looking from West Hawaii today, a very conservative community. They said people love to gamble, so why not make it legal? You have approximately 24 flights that's going out a month to Vegas, approximately $700 million. 90% of the people here in Hawaii, in a poll, like to gamble. They favor gambling. I mean, they're not maybe for a casino, but they love to gamble. The population makeup that we have here, the heterogeneous makeup, is people who love to gamble. People from, and then you have people from China come here, people from Vietnam, from Malaysia. They all love to gamble. This would be a perfect area to lure those kind of the visitors from that area. But more important is that when you look at universities, we should have universities instead of casinos, it costs money to maintain a university. Where is the money going to come from? And right now, our university, too, is having a very difficult time financially. And if we don't raise taxes or if we don't have gaming, we're going to have to make cuts. That's going to hurt the education system. That's going to hurt the health system. It's going to hurt the prison system and everything else. What do you have
here? That's because I'm trying to get you to be quiet so I can ask you this question. You brought up education. Can the panel comment on California, which intended gambling proceeds to go to education, but recently announced 30% cut in teaching staff? Do you know those numbers?
I'm not familiar with those specific numbers, but it doesn't surprise me because it's not a steady revenue stream. It's well known and well accepted to that effect. We talk about many times bringing in the lottery to help education. Well, that really, it has not helped education. Lotteries, all the studies show that lotteries have not helped education. As a matter of fact, a definitive report published in Money Magazine 1996 listed all the states which had brought in the lottery and showed that the funding in real dollars to education had actually gone down, whereas in the non-gambling or less gambling states, the funding to education was better. And a lot of my education friends, National Education Association and others, really buy into this myth that it helps education. I say, look, go to the World Book Encyclopedia, look in the 1994 supplement, it says there, the lotteries have not helped education. So we need to dispel people of these myths. And I really sympathize with Representative Suki's concerns about budgets and financing, what have you, but gambling is just not the way to go. It's disruptive. It creates enormous social costs. It raids your local economy of consumer dollars, and it's just not a good way to go.
Kathy buys the myth. She says, I used to live in Alberta, Canada, where we had a lottery. The revenue went to education and museums. But you're saying it's not much of it.
No, I'm saying that it's worse.
There's a lottery program that's going on in Georgia now where they provide scholarships for any student that have a B average, and that is working extremely well.
Does it fund the whole, does it fund all of those scholarships?
They fund the scholarship for any student in Georgia that has a B average through a lottery.
Having lots of family in Georgia, having gone to the university in Georgia, and being very familiar with this, we have to ask ourselves, who are buying those lottery tickets? Well, it's basically a regressive tax on the poor. They're poor people who are buying these tickets to help fund the more wealthy people. Now, you can talk about the social justice issues in that, but I would also point out the Atlanta Journal-Constitution has reported that they now have the highest addiction rate among young people when it comes to gambling.
Isn't all of this a little bit academic, though, because the internet gambling now is the fastest growing form of gambling,
yeah,
right?
Which is illegal under federal law. Yeah, nobody knows that.
But it's still going, right?
Nobody knows that, yeah. But in 1961, Robert Kennedy passed the Wire Act to restrain organized crime. That has been interpreted by the FBI as applying to the internet and the Justice Department. So gambling on the internet, and I ask my students this, and you're right, a lot of them don't know this. It is illegal under federal law, and this 2006 bill that I mentioned, the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, which was recommended by the Federal Commission, passed in 2006 with 80% of the Congress, and that helped, and that gave banks and credit establishments more power in enforcing the ban on gambling on the internet. And after that particular stock market, the stocks dropped $16 billion in one day. Now, why was that? Because the whole idea of gambling is destabilizing to our financial systems. This is an international problem. The Congress is starting to get it, and we as the states need to follow what the Federal Commission said and do the moratorium on gambling expansion.
Joe, this may be one of your constituents. Dave on Maui says, where did Joe Souki get the impression that tourists get bored here in Hawaii? Dave doesn't think they do. But beyond that, this is a more important question. The state's budget director has testified that gaming will not help the deficit and will take years to implement and will include more money to start because of overhead costs of hiring people. Do you still think it's a good idea to legalize gambling despite no immediate relief to the state's short-term predicament?
That is correct. There will be no immediate relief. However, this downtrend is going to continue. And again, the cycles that I've seen in the past is that it'll go up and then it'll come down. And as we're looking for the years beyond 2011, you're going to have continual deficit growing every year. So that's going to be a continual problem for the next few years. You got to remember that this is a global problem. This is not just a problem here. And so, yes, gambling is going to take a few years to start up, but we can take intermediate steps prior to that. It could be raising taxes, but then you have a sunset, and you stop it after a couple of years. Gaming will be just about ready to go into it and take over. But you got to look at a long-term need for Hawaii. Hawaii is blessed with great weather, with great people, wonderful beaches, but all we have is tourism. We got to compete on a worldwide basis now for tourism. There's beautiful beaches anywhere in the world.
Not anywhere, not anywhere.
Oh yes,
Joe.
there's some beautiful beaches in Mexico. There's some beautiful beaches in the Bahamas. There's beautiful beaches around. Our beaches are small.
May I also raise the issue of the Akaka bill, which now has taken out the anti-gambling or the anti-casino provisions.
Right.
And so if that passes, you're going to have casinos, slot machines everywhere in Hawaii. And even when the provision was in there that said no gambling, that still is not a 100% safe guarantee. And people should be very cautious. Be afraid. Be very afraid. And look at that bill very closely, because gambling can sneak in.
Emeritus Speaker Souki, we've got to go. And mahalo to you, Professor Kindt.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip back to Illinois. Joe, I don't want you to go back to Maui. You go back down there to that square building and go to work. all
Okay,
right?
I will.
Good luck over the coming session,
Nice.
too.
Nice
It's going
to
to be
see
a
you
tough one.
again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.